Hi, so if you've never done Pilates before, there's a few things you need to understand because you can copy the moves that you'll see on the Pilates videos, but you might use the wrong part of the body to do the moves. So quite often I'll see people using their back or taking pressure into their neck when really we want to learn to use the core. So I'm hoping as we go through 4 principles, we've got centering through the core, great alignment, really great control and breath. It'll help you get more from your Pilates moves. Let's see if this makes sense to you. So first of all, great alignment. Quite often when we lie in this position here, bent knees, feet hip width apart, arms wide, palms up, this is a setup position. I see people lying with loads of tension in their shoulders. So let's get some body awareness, just even with lying down, and then we'll work on breath. So what I need you to do is tuck your chin softly and slide the back of the head along the floor, away from the spine. Take the arms quite wide from the body, and now shoulder position is really important for great posture and alignment. Gently wriggle your shoulder blades towards each other, so the shoulder blades feel a little closer to the spine. And now gently walk the shoulder blades down your back so your shoulders are as far away from the ears as you can. So should be lying with a long neck and an open position here. So let's try Pilates breath. You'll still get a Pilates workout if you don't get the breath spot on, but you just get a lot more from it if you can understand how the breath works. So in this position here, all I'd like you to do is practice breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. So keep practicing this, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's concentrate on the out breath. Each time you breathe out, I'd like you to allow yourself to empty the core completely and feel your ribs start to actively push down in towards the tummy. So it feels like the front rib cage is pushing down towards the hip bones. And now we're starting to use a little bit of core. As you breathe in, you're trying to not disturb this core engagement that you've started to create. So we try in Pilates to breathe into the back of the ribs and out, and brace the core some more. Into the back of the ribs and out through the mouth. You'll feel the back of the rib cage naturally pressing against the floor with your out breath. And we're starting to learn centering now as well. So centering is where we engage the core. So each time you breathe out, I want you to allow the spine to imprint against the floor. You're trying to get as much of the spine against the floor as you can. But this move comes from your out breath and the engagement of your core. So practice this, breathe in, and as you breathe out through your mouth, allow the rib cage to push into belly and feel how the back naturally flattens to floor. Can you try and keep the ribs perfectly still now with each in-breath? So maybe rest your hands on top of your rib cage. And picture your in-breath scooping down underneath into the back of the ribs, underneath the belly. And then breathe out through the mouth and exhale completely. You should feel the abs tightening, and eventually as you practice this, you should be able to have the back of the ribs firmly on the floor. The last bit to engage is the pelvic floor. So keep breathing in through nose, out through mouth. And for pelvic floor, we think about using bowel and bladder muscles is the simple way of putting it. So you want to imagine there's a lifting sensation through the bowel muscles and then a lifting sensation through the bladder muscles. And we try and hold a gentle position here. Between 30 and 50% of your maximum hold. These are endurance muscles. So hopefully you're still breathing in through nose, out through mouth. You're practicing breathing into the back of the ribs. You're practicing rib cage staying still. And I feel a gentle bit of work just at the base of the ribs, and a gentle sensation that the pelvic floor is drawing upwards, up through the body. So we're going to try and do some moves while using all of these principles. First of all, we're going to try a double toe tap, and we're going to see how close you can lower feet to floor using the correct core muscles. So this is how the move looks. We start in this in position, breathe out, lower down to floor, breathe in, draw the knees in. I'll coach it to you in a minute. This is just so you've got a visual of what you're trying to do. So let's start at level 1 for those who might really need some caution. You're going to lift the knees in over tummy and just bring all your awareness to how flat your back is. We created this with the pelvic floor and the breath. So we don't let any movement occur in the pelvis. We keep the back just as flat and the hips really still. So with your knees over tummy, I wonder if you can come back into the setup position for the arms, shoulders down the back, shoulders together. Really engage your core, brace your core, and allow your arms to come to side. Now if you can't hold that position, then your first challenge is to gently release, and then grab as soon as you feel like your back's arching away from the floor. But I think most people will be able to work here. So what we're trying to do is keeping all the awareness of how many vertebrae are on the floor, and that gentle lift of the tailbone here. We're trying to keep that perfectly still. Tailbone stays up. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out. See how close you can lower feet to floor without compromising your back position. Breathe in. Draw the knees in all the way over tummy. Breathe out. Lower down. Breathe in. Draw the knees in. So I'm trying to keep the rib cage pushed down here as the feet lower down. I'm trying to keep the arch of the back in an imprinted position. I'm trying to relax the muscles in the legs. I'm trying to keep the tailbone gently lifting off the floor, so that I'm really using the core muscles and still in the pelvis. If you need a breather, stop and hug your knees. If you want to explore this move a little bit further, you're going to lower to floor, and you're going to stop with your knees over your hips in a tabletop position. Lower down, and then stop over a tabletop position. So this has now come up to level 3. Knees are finishing over hips. Feet roughly knee height. If you want to explore this move even more, knees start over hips in the tabletop position. How far out can you start to tap the legs? Please don't straighten your legs completely. If you can get out this far, but you can't keep that gentle scoop up with the tailbone and imprint of the spine, you're using your back muscles. You must keep this spine imprint for the purpose of the moves that we're doing today. So if you go for your maximum extension, you might have to tap heels. You're making sure your back is flat, otherwise you're using the wrong muscles, and bringing it back in. So once you've found your maximum extension, have a go at building up to 8, and then eventually try and build up to 16 repetitions without compromising the position of your back. So at no point should anyone be able to get their hands under the arch of your back. If you're somebody with a very big arch to your back, you won't be able to get very far, because your back muscles are very tight and they activate very easily. So to get better at Pilates, persevere even though you can get your legs all the way out with an arch in your back. Persevere at training to use your core with a small move, and maybe try building up to 16 reps at a level that you can manage, and try it every other day. You'll find progress really quickly. Bring the knees in, lower them down to floor, take a breather. The next move we're going to practice is an upper body lift or a crunch. We need to really be aware of what's going on in the shoulders here, and also we work from the ribs. So the arm position, palms are up, And we don't want to create this lifting, rounding feeling of the shoulders. If you create this lifting, rounding feeling, you might feel the neck muscles really tense and working. So this is often a great way to teach you to use the abs without pulling on the neck. So walk your shoulder blades very close together. Tuck your chin in. We initiate the move by pulling the back of the head up, tucking the chin down and looking towards the knees. Most people end up looking up and look at that tension on the back of my neck, and then they wonder why they get neck pain. Contract the muscles in the front of the neck, tuck the chin in and get a wonderful bit of length on your neck. Arms are going to lift to about shoulder height. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, you're pushing your ribs down towards your hips, lowering all the way back down. Head lands last. Tuck the chin, roll on up, see where you can lift to, and lower back down. If this is very strong, because we don't often spend long in this position, you might just do 2 or 3, and then build up over the weeks. There's no rush with any of these Pilates moves. You've spent years creating the habits you've got with your body now. We spend time creating great habits to correct. Chin tucks in. So do you see I always tuck the chin and lift the head first? I'm initiating the move and then pushing the ribs down to belly. I'm trying to keep my shoulders pushing down, and then I land the head last. So can you picture moving one vertebrae at a time? Chin tucks, lift one vertebrae, the next one, and then lower back down. Have a rest. Next move to work at is spine mobility. Now if your back's really not great at all, I recommend you stay with a move called the roll up, the hip bridge. So try this. I'm initiating the move by tilting the pelvis. My hip bones are tilting down, my tailbone's tilting up. I've got length in the back of the neck, and then I'm trying to lift one vertebrae at a time off the floor, so you've really got to focus on your body, and then lower down one vertebrae at a time. Tilt your pelvis first, lift one vertebrae at a time, keep the pelvic tilt, very important, pause at the top, check your rib cage, it's pushing down towards your ribs. So for the most of the moves that you'll do with me at beginning and intermediate level, we will have this imprint of the spine, where the spine's pushing down towards an imprint, but it's always initiated by ribs pushing down to belly. So if you see yourself in a mirror and you're starting to arch your back this way, you've lost your spinal imprint. Just correct it. Tilt the pelvis, push the ribs down, and feel how that takes all the load out of the lower back. Roll back down one vertebrae at a time. So you've hip to hip width apart for great alignment. Your big toe, your little toe and your heel are just spreading the pressure of the foot on the floor, and we're rolling up and down. Keep going. Really tilt the pelvis, breathe out to lift, breathe in to lower. There's one more thing I'd like you to think about. Lift up to your maximum height with your ribs pushing down into tummy. Now can you land your ribs before your bottom? So try and land one vertebra at a time. Try and land your rib cage. Really, really try and land the middle of the back, the arch of the back, and then land the tailbone last. Can you really work on that lift? Try and lift the tailbone, the middle of the back, then the bottom of the ribs. Weight comes no higher than shoulder blades, and then roll down one vertebrae at a time to land. So that was your roll up into hip bridge. If your back is okay, you might attempt working towards the roll over. Now the full roll over looks like this with bent or straight legs. And it's a very controlled move. However, let's find what your level is today with this. So what we're trying to do is teach the bottom to lift off the floor. Join me for level 1. It's really important you work under control. As soon as you start jarring, That's when the injuries happen, and we don't use the abs either. So you're kind of not doing Pilates. So level 1 would be to pull in from the knees and just create an assisted tailbone lift. Engage the core, breathe out to lift the tailbone, breathe in to reset. So you're just getting some movement in the spine. And you might choose to stay with this. Level 2, we start in the tabletop position, and we work exactly the same small range of movement, but you're just starting to assist with your arms. So you do get a bit of an arm workout with this, and some flexibility in the spine, and some great work with the core. If you want to work harder, all we do is we try and move under control to create more and more lift. So I want you to engage the core, particularly the pelvic floor, and I want you to picture your hips lifting quite high as they start to lift up and over. So rather than collapsing on the body, I'm allowing the hips to lift quite high and lowering back down and assisting with my arms. And then you can start to try with one straight leg. The benefit of the straight leg is we start to stretch out the hamstring, or two straight legs, using the arms to assist the lift, exploring where you can get to and lowering back down. Once you start to roll all the way back over towards the back of your head, you need to make sure the weight doesn't go into the neck. You're just exploring how much movement you can get with your spine. Lower the feet down and have a breather. The last thing that I need you to understand is when your arm reaches overhead and your leg stretches out, our back tends to arch quite a lot and we can start to put pressure in the back. So as soon as the arm's straight, the pressure goes into neck and shoulders. As soon as the leg's straight, the pressure can go into hip. So all we're going to do is practice moving with an imprinted spine as we go for a supine spin. So breathe in, and as you breathe out, ribs push down, spine imprints. So get your back as flat as you can, and for the whole of this move you shouldn't be able to get your hands underneath your rib cage. Your ribs should be pushing against the floor as hard as you can. So engage your pelvic floor. Now we're going to stretch out the same side of the body, so not opposite arm to leg, and it's just to get a better stretch. So push your shoulder blades down your back so that your shoulders are in a comfortable position. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, extend your arm as straight as you can to a V shape and lengthen your leg. Did you manage to keep the back of the ribs to the floor? Want to stay here. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, push your ribs towards the floor. The one thing you don't compromise is your rib position. You might be able to push the back of the thigh to floor. You might be able to straighten your arm. Please remember, if your shoulder isn't comfortable, you need to wriggle your shoulder blade quite firmly down your back and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Have you got a safe neck position? Your chin is tucked in. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, imprint your spine. Let's take this into a movement. So reset, both shoulders are pushing down your back. Breathe out, stretch. Breathe in, reset, change sides. Breathe out, slide. Breathe in, reset, change sides. Breathe out, slide. So my ribs are on the floor. The purpose of this is you're trying to get a straight arm right by the side of your ear, flat to floor. Can you see I can't quite do it? So I need to eventually be able to get ribs down and get the straight arm flat from shoulder, elbow to floor. That's tightness in my body that I need to work on. But do you feel how hard it is to keep the ribs down? The ribs just want to lift up towards the ceiling. Keep the ribs on the floor. And reset. So, we've covered core strength, what your maximum range of movement is. We've covered upper ab strength and neck position. We've covered stability in the hips and mobility in the spine, and mobility for the spine here. And we're also starting to understand a little bit how the shoulder works and how to keep the ribs down, so we use the abs. Once you're confident you understand all of this, you're ready to go for a Pilates session. So move on to the next video.